Every morning, somewhere between your bedroom and your kitchen, your brain may be facing a danger that could change your life forever. I'm not talking about bad luck. I'm talking about stroke, one of the leading causes of disability in adults over 60, and how it strikes without warning in the very first hour after waking. Not next week. Not one day, I mean tomorrow morning. As a brain doctor, I've seen too many people walk into the ER or be wheeled in who went to bed feeling fine and woke up with slurred speech, a limp arm, or unable to walk straight. And it's not just tragic, it's preventable. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 67, a retired teacher, does yoga 3 times a week, takes her medications on time, and watches her salt. She's doing what many would call everything right. But one Tuesday morning at exactly 8:30 a.m., she collapsed in her kitchen. Her husband found her on the floor, confused, unable to speak clearly, her right arm completely weak. By the time the ambulance got her to the hospital, the worst of the symptoms had faded. She was alert, walking, talking. But I knew immediately what had happened. Margaret had experienced what we call a thanks in advance, a transient ischemic attack, or a mini stroke. A warning shot, and most people never get a second one without something worse following. So I did what I always do. I asked her to walk me through her morning routine, step by step. And that's when the real problem came to light. Margaret's morning looked like many of my patients. She had 7 habits she thought were totally harmless, even healthy, that were in fact quietly increasing the pressure on her brain every single morning. And she's not the only one. Over the years, I've seen these same 7 habits again and again in older adults who later suffer strokes, mini strokes, or unexplained cognitive decline. So today, I'm going to walk you through those exact 7 habits. We'll break each one down, show you why it's risky, and most importantly, what you can do instead. These are not dramatic life changes. They're small, simple shifts that can cut your stroke risk by up to 50%. I'm Dr. James Porter, and if you're new here, this channel is where I share real, science-backed ways to protect your brain and your independence. If that matters to you or someone you love, consider subscribing. It could save more than one life. Before we get to the habits, I need to show you why mornings are so risky, especially if you're over 60. This part isn't just important, it's personal. You see, your brain doesn't just wake up because you open your eyes. There's a complete cardiovascular shift happening inside your body in those first moments after sleep, and it's more intense than most people realize. Let me explain. While you're sleeping, your blood pressure drops, your heart slows down, and your blood thickens slightly. This is your body's natural rest mode. It's peaceful, calm, restorative. But the moment you wake up, everything changes. Your brain demands oxygen. Your muscles prepare for movement. Your heart has to pump faster. Your blood pressure surges. And your blood needs to move from your core to your limbs, and crucially, to your brain. This rapid shift is what doctors call the morning surge. And for someone in their 32nd or 42nd with flexible arteries, it's not usually a big problem. But if you're over 60, your arteries are likely stiffer, narrower, and less responsive than they used to be. Think of it like a rusty pipe. When the water pressure kicks on full blast and the pipes can't expand quickly, something's going to leak, crack, or burst. That's what can happen in the tiny, fragile blood vessels inside your brain. This is why strokes tend to hit in the morning. According to the American Heart Association, most strokes occur between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., with the highest concentration in the first 2 hours after waking. But here's what most people and even some doctors don't talk about. Your habits during that window matter more than you think. If you stand up too fast, if you skip water, if you load up on caffeine without food, or take your meds the wrong way, you're putting extra pressure on a brain that's already in its most vulnerable state of the day. This isn't about fear. It's about understanding what's really going on in your body and giving your brain the support it needs, exactly when it needs it most. In just a moment, We'll look at the first of the 7 habits that quietly raise your stroke risk, and I'll show you the simple change Margaret made that stopped her morning dizziness in just 3 days. Let's talk about those 7 habits. The ones Margaret was doing. The ones I've seen over and over again in my patients, and in many cases, they had no idea these simple, automatic routines were quietly putting their brains at risk. Habit 1. Jumping out of bed the moment your eyes open. Margaret used to be proud of being what she called a fast starter. Alarm goes off, feet hit the ground. But after a full night of lying down, your blood pressure hasn't caught up with gravity. When you go from horizontal to standing in seconds, your brain can be left hanging literally. It's called orthostatic hypotension, and for 10 to 15 seconds, your brain may not be getting the oxygen it needs. You might feel dizzy or get tunnel vision, but even if you don't, your brain feels it. That's why I teach the 90-second rule. Take a few deep breaths. Move your fingers and ankles. Sit up slowly. Then pause with your feet on the ground before standing. It gives your brain a chance to adjust safely. Habit 2. Reaching for coffee before water. Most people do this without thinking. But here's what happens overnight. While you sleep, you lose water through your breath and skin. By the time you wake up, your body is already about 1% dehydrated. That may not sound like much, but it's enough to make your blood thicker and harder to pump. Then, you add caffeine, which constricts your blood vessels, and now your heart has to work even harder to deliver blood to your brain. A simple glass of water, first thing, helps thin your blood, wake up your circulation, and ease the burden on your brain. Habit 3. Breakfast foods that seem healthy, but are loaded with sodium. Margaret thought she was eating right. Instant oatmeal, a slice of multigrain toast, maybe a little deli turkey. But those foods, especially packaged or processed ones, often contain 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium, sometimes more. And that sodium goes straight to your arteries, making them stiffer, tighter, and more likely to resist blood flow. Within 30 minutes, blood pressure can spike, putting even more pressure on the smallest, most delicate vessels in your brain. If your breakfast is raising your numbers before the day even starts, that's a problem. Habit 4. Drinking black coffee on an empty stomach. Here's what most people don't realize. Caffeine doesn't just wake you up. It triggers a surge in adrenaline, the stress hormone, which can increase your heart rate and tighten your arteries. When there's no food in your system, this effect is even stronger. Some patients mistake it for anxiety or even heart trouble. The fix is simple. Eat a small buffer first. A boiled egg, a few almonds, half a banana, anything to help your body absorb the caffeine more gently. Habit 5. Ignoring mild symptoms like slurred words, numbness, or dizziness. Margaret had mentioned she sometimes felt a little off in the mornings, words wouldn't come out right, or her fingers felt weak. She thought it was just grogginess. But these are classic signs of a mini-stroke, a transient ischemic attack, or TIA. Many people brush them off because they go away in minutes. But that's the brain waving a red flag. If you ever notice slurred speech, facial droop, numbness, or trouble lifting your arm even for a few minutes, you need to take it seriously. Write it down. Call your doctor, because the next one might not go away. Habit 6. Taking all your morning pills at once, sometimes with coffee. This is more common than you'd think. Blood pressure meds, thyroid pills, aspirin, all swallowed in one gulp while the coffee brews. But certain medications need to be taken with food. Others don't mix well with caffeine. Some, like beta blockers or diuretics, can cause sudden drops in pressure if taken the wrong way. If you've ever felt lightheaded or weak after taking your meds, this could be why. The solution? Use a simple pill organizer. Read every label, and talk to your doctor or pharmacist about timing and interactions. Habit 7. Staying in bed scrolling your phone while ignoring a full bladder. It sounds harmless, right? Just checking emails or news before you get up. But when you ignore the urge to urinate, your nervous system stays under pressure. I had one patient, Frank, who kept getting morning heart palpitations. Turned out he was delaying his first bathroom trip, and the pressure on his bladder was triggering a spike in blood pressure and heart rate. Your body doesn't like to wait. Head to the bathroom within the first 5 minutes of waking. It's not just comfort, it's protection. That's the list. 7 habits that seem small, even harmless, but for your brain, especially after age 60, they can quietly add up to something serious. The good news? Every single one of them can be changed, and none of them require anything fancy. Next, I'll walk you through the exact routine Margaret uses. Now, the same one I teach all my patients to help protect the brain before something goes wrong. After that scare in her kitchen, Margaret made a choice, not just to recover, but to prevent it from ever happening again. And what she did wasn't extreme. It wasn't expensive. In fact, most of it took less than 5 minutes each morning. It was a shift in how she started her day. A shift I now recommend to every single one of my patients over 60. I call it the stroke-safe morning routine. And here's exactly how it works step by step. Step 1. Prep the night before. Remove the guesswork. Margaret used to stumble into her morning, making decisions while half asleep like most of us do. Now, before bed, she places a glass of water on the nightstand. She lines up her medications in a simple pill organizer and sets out ingredients for a low-sodium breakfast like plain oats, berries, or a boiled egg. Nothing complicated. Just making sure that when she wakes up, she doesn't have to think. Because here's the truth. Your morning brain doesn't make great decisions. It's foggy. It's under pressure. So the key is preparing in advance with calm and clarity. Step 2. Follow the 90-second wake-up progression. This one change alone stopped Margaret's morning dizziness within days. Instead of bolting upright, she takes a slow, intentional minute and a half to transition from sleep to standing. 10 seconds. Deep, slow breaths while still lying down. 20 seconds. Gentle movement, wiggling her fingers, rotating her ankles to get blood flowing. 20 seconds. She slowly sits up on the edge of the bed. 40 seconds. She lets her feet rest on the floor while her body catches up. Then and only then she stands. It's simple, but it gives her cardiovascular system time to adjust and sends oxygen to the brain without the shock. Step 3. Hydrate to small protein to coffee, in that order. Most people start their day backwards. Margaret used to drink 2 mugs of black coffee before eating anything. Her brain hated that. Now she drinks a full glass of room-temperature water right after waking. Sometimes with a pinch of sea salt or a few drops of lemon juice for faster absorption. Then she eats something small. Half a banana, a boiled egg, or a few almonds. Nothing heavy, just enough to buffer the caffeine. Only then does she have her coffee. 1 cup, not 3. And she waits at least 30 minutes before refilling. This sequence, water first, food second, coffee third, stabilizes her blood pressure, eases the load on her heart, and gives her brain the gentle energy it actually needs. Step 4. Log blood pressure and symptoms. Watch for patterns. Margaret keeps a simple notebook by her breakfast table. Each morning she logs 3 things: her blood pressure, her heart rate, and how she feels any dizziness, speech trouble, or strange sensations. Why? Because patterns matter. One odd reading isn't always a red flag. But when you see the same spike or symptom show up across multiple days, it tells a story. A story you and your doctor can act on before something serious happens. Step 5. Share your routine. Protect more than one life. This might be the most overlooked step of all. Margaret told her husband, her sister, and even her neighbor what warning signs to look for. Slurred speech, facial drooping, sudden weakness, dizziness. Because strokes don't always come with a dramatic fall. Sometimes, it's just a glazed look, a pause mid-sentence, a subtle change. Only someone close would notice. By sharing what she learned, Margaret didn't just protect herself. She gave her family the tools to step in if needed before it's too late. These 5 steps aren't flashy. They won't go viral, but they work. And when you practice them consistently, day after day, something incredible starts to happen. You don't just feel steadier. You feel clearer, more in control. Margaret told me, 6 months after her mini stroke, I wake up now feeling like my brain is ready for the day. I'm not afraid anymore. And that's the goal. Not just avoiding disaster, but reclaiming confidence. Starting your day with strength, not stress. In the next part, I'll show you how to recognize early signs that your routine might still be putting your brain at risk, even if you feel fine. Stay with me. What you do in the first hour of your day matters more than most people realize, especially after 60. Because that's when your brain is most vulnerable or most protected. And the difference? It often comes down to the smallest things. How fast you stand, whether you drink water first, how you take your medication. You don't need perfection. You just need awareness and consistency. Margaret didn't change everything overnight. She just started with one habit, and that one change gave her brain a second chance. So here's what I'd like you to do. Choose one habit from today's video, just one, and commit to trying it tomorrow morning. Then share this video with someone you care about, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, because you might help protect more than one brain. Protect your morning, protect your brain. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. If this video helped you, even in a small way, please take a second to click like, leave a comment below. I read everyone, and subscribe to the channel for more practical, science-backed ways to stay sharp and independent. And if someone you love is over 60, please share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need to see. Until next time, I'm Dr. James Porter, and I'll see you in the next one.